Abby Grace here for another podcast episode. And so today, I'm just going to be kind of going through some important lessons I've learned this past year about emotions. And this is kind of like an intro kind of video about emotions before we dive deep into some of the other 8 core emotions mentioned in Chip Dodd's The Voice of the Heart book. By the way, next week I will not be making a podcast video on June 1st. I'm so sorry, but plans are just crazy. But so basically this week I'm going to be kind of like doing like an intro video over emotions and what I've learned this past year and all this gibberish. And the next couple weeks we're going to be diving into the 8 core emotions, which is hurt, loneliness, sadness, anger, fear, shame, guilt, and gladness. On June 8th we're going to be going through hurt. As usual, we usually start with prayer requests, favorite things, and a verse of the day. What could I do for a verse of the day? I mean, I can't really find any good verses, but I thought I'd share 2 that I really love in general. 1 Peter 5:7 NLT. Give all your worries and cares to God, for He cares about you. That's 1 Peter 5:7. And then Psalm 34:18. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted. He rescues those whose spirits are crushed. Which I love that. Prayer requests? Do I have any prayer requests? Honestly, I don't think I have any prayer requests. But if y'all do, please let me know in the comments. I will be praying for all of y'all. Favorite thing? What is a good favorite thing? Oh! School's out and summer is here. I've never been so happy. So yeah, that's my favorite thing. My favorite thing is that it's summer. If y'all have any favorite things, any prayer requests, any Bible verses y'all like, I don't know, just, yeah. Okay, so if there's anything I've learned this past year of walking through a difficult season, I have realized that emotions are actually good. And if you were to tell me that like a year ago, I would have been like, whoa, are you insane? Because I was the type of person who thought crying was weak and I thought anger was unacceptable. But emotions are actually good. And also like being vulnerable is like so important, especially like being vulnerable like helps not only like grow your relationships with other people, but also it's like being vulnerable helps you heal. Like, you may not realize it at first, but it really does. Like, when you are, like, feeling your emotions, some people are like, oh, I gotta, like, fix my problems. I gotta fix my emotions. I gotta stop feeling this way kind of thing. Which, like, you shouldn't ever just, like, try to, like, fix your problems or, like, fix your emotions kind of thing. Or, like, other people's problems or emotions. Because, like, it is good to be, like, there for others and give them guidance. But, like, you shouldn't try to, like, like, solve everything, if that makes any sense. Like, it is good to, like, work on your emotions and, like, be aware of, like, the emotions you feel. And, like, say, this is okay for me to feel. Don't be like, this is how I feel, I should try to stop feeling this way. Like, if you're sad, don't be like, oh, I should stop crying, it's weak. No, like, sadness shows that we care, if that makes sense. Because, like, you don't typically cry over something you don't care. When you feel emotions, you should accept that that's how you feel, and that's okay. You're allowed to feel that way. And it's not like you should just be like, okay, I need to totally ignore my emotions, totally stop feeling this way. You don't need to, like, get stuck in your head. So when you are, like, emotional or whatever, like, your stress levels are, like, up, and your body physically needs, like, eye contact and, like, attunement, which I think is, like, someone who's, like, just there for you, listening, and just there. Like, they're not like, oh, I'm so sorry that your life is horrible. Maybe instead of feeling sad, you should actually be happy, because at least this and this and this isn't happening, like what occurred to me. Like, no one wants someone like that, if that makes any sense. So, having, like, eye contact, a person with you, having attunement, someone who can, like, just say, I hear you, I am here for you, is just so important, and it really helps. just someone to like acknowledge your problems and just meet you there. Like, because if you try to like fix other people's problems, you're like missing out on what will truly like help them or help you heal. And just like, yeah, so just like also just which just like goes to show like vulnerability is just like so important. And if you're trying to like help someone else with their like emotions, just like listen and just like be there for them and like let them just get it all out. Like if they need guidance, kindly reassure them, but don't like just like dump information like, oh, this is how you should do it, stop acting this way, kind of thing, if that makes sense. Yeah, but like you shouldn't try to like fix people's problems. You should just like be there for them. And like when it comes to like your own problems, just like acknowledging this is how you feel and that's okay. And then like praying to God is like literally top tier. Like literally that sounds so weird to say, but literally it is. Like praying to God, like if you're upset, being like, just like tell God. He's not gonna judge you, you know what I'm saying? But like praying to God is just like so helpful because like if you're feeling a certain way, just like having someone there, like I know he can't exactly say any, you can't always like hear him, but he's literally, it's just so great just to like talk to him. But that's why it's also good to like have someone physical to talk to, like a human being. So which is why I think it's so important to, here's what I would do, I think is really good, is when you like feel a certain way, that's like kind of like, I guess when your like emotions are like out of control, or even in a general, just like go to God. And then like I would recommend going to your parents. Not everyone will like hearing that, but I would recommend going to a friend who you know you can like totally trust and you know isn't gonna make you feel worse. And I think that's really helpful. Just having like someone to talk to and just like process your emotions with is really good, because sometimes I'll be like freaking out about something and I even sometimes I'll just cry about like literally the most random things, and I just need like sometimes I just need to talk to like my mom or something. I just need to just or not even talk to, I just need someone to hug, because hugging is literally so, it's kind of weird, but it literally helps so much. But so yeah, when it comes to like when you're like your emotions are like when they like, I don't know, when they feel out of control, I guess first evaluate how like you're feeling and be like, okay, so I'm feeling lonely right now, and that's okay. And then just be like, okay, so like first of all, like if you struggle with like knowing how you're feeling, I would definitely recommend to like staying for like the rest of the emotions series that we're gonna go through, but also maybe even consider getting the book I'm going to be referencing, which I will put in the description, like the name of the book. It's not like sponsored. This isn't like sponsored or anything. I'm just, it was a really, really good book. Super impactful. God made us with emotions that we like feel, and we should like acknowledge our emotions. Our emotions aren't like bad, and like, you know, anger isn't evil, you know, like anger shows that you have a passion and like a deep love for something. It's when anger leads you to sin or have like depression or pride when it like becomes a problem. And then like fear shows that you're human, and it's okay to be afraid, you know. But it's when like and the other thing about fear is it gives like you an opportunity to have faith. But the thing about fear, it like being afraid, is when you're afraid, if you let that fear get in the way of like doing God's will, and you have like a lot of anxiety, that's when it becomes like a problem. So like, you know, those are like two examples of the 8 emotions, but like emotions aren't bad. They're actually good. And I know it may sound like so weird, but it's true. And honestly, without emotions, we'd be like so boring and uncaring. I'm kind of like 2D, honestly. And so yeah, emotions are good, and now you just kind of have to learn how to like recognize them, I guess, and like learn how to deal with them, which we'll go over through the next few weeks. Yeah, talking to God is literally just so helpful. I cannot stress that enough. Going to find a trustworthy friend that you know you can talk to and that you know isn't gonna like judge you or anything is so helpful. And just find someone, whether it's like, your parents, a friend, or even just God, all of them, honestly, all of the above. And honestly, so, okay, quick thing, there are the people out there who don't have good relationships with their parents or good relationships with their friends. And I understand that you may not want to tell your parents or your friends everything, and that's totally fine. You don't have to, like, tell people every small detail of your life. You can tell God every small detail of your life, though, because, like, literally, He designed every small detail of your life. But, like, I do think it's super beneficial to at least, like, tell, like, your parents some things. Like, if you're sad about this and you literally just don't know how to deal with it or something, and you're just going through this hard time, if they don't know that you're going through this, they can't help you, and you may be, like, literally stressing out so bad, but they're right there, and they can help you, and it may be hard to believe for some people. But I seriously would just recommend just being vulnerable, and you don't have to, like, literally just be, like, telling them everything. Your parents, though, they will be some of the most helpful people in hard times, since they've also gone through hard things too. But I would definitely recommend, like, praying and talking to God if you can't go to, like, your parents or your friends or whatever. Now, here's another thing. If you want to have, like, a good relationship with your parents, like, I know it's hard. Like, I know there's some people out there who, like, want to have a good relationship with their parents, but they just, like, don't. Like, even really talk to them. I would just recommend talking to them. Like, if you're sad, even if it's the most ridiculous thing. But I'm just, like, saying, like, you can tell them things. Like, you can just be honest, like, oh, I'm really upset about this. Or you can even tell them, like, hey, I really want to tell you things, but I don't know if I can, like, trust you about it because I feel like you're going to judge me. And it's totally okay to say it in, like, a kind way. Just be honest with them, though. Because I definitely think having a relationship with, like, your family is so important when it comes to, like, being vulnerable about emotions and stuff. But, like, literally sometimes you just need someone to, like, listen and just give you advice, or even just someone to have, like, just, like, if you just need a shoulder to cry on, like, literally. But, with, like, your parents, if you just tell them how you feel, but, like, just, like, you can just tell them what's going on, but you can also just literally, like, be, like, tell them, like, that you don't want them to judge or fix your problem. Sometimes, you just need someone to listen and give you advice, and maybe just even a shoulder to cry on. And just finding ways so that you can build this trust with your parents is just so crucial. And I think your parents should definitely, like, respect your emotions and respect your privacy. And if they aren't, you can always, like, just kind of, like, tell them how this affects you, obviously. But another thing when it comes to just relationships with, like, your parents or whatever, is my mom said that, like, she heard something that said, you can only love someone as much as you know them. And I don't know where that quote's from, but it's kind of true, because, like, if your like, parents, your family, or your friends or whatever don't know much about, like, what you're going through or what you're facing, they can't really help you through it as much, you know what I'm saying? Like I think it's important to just be honest about how you feel, even if it's, like, scary. And you don't have to, like, be, like, telling them literally everything. But I definitely consider, like, who you're going to be vulnerable with, because you don't want to just, like, literally tell everyone, because that wouldn't end well. But I think that another thing that helps when, like, you're feeling a lot of emotions is journaling. Like, not everyone loves journaling. I personally love journaling. But over this past year, I've been going through, like, I went through a really hard season this past year, and I think around this time last year, maybe a little bit later, maybe a little bit sooner, I started journaling, and I'm right now on journal number 6. So I have, like, 6 journals over this past year and so some of it's, like, to-do lists, but some of it's, like, brain dumps where I just, like, literally write down everything. And I think that's just so helpful because it kind of, like, gets everything out. Because, like, sometimes what will happen is, like, I heard that your brain sometimes will just start, like, looping thoughts through your head. Kind of like an infinity loop. It'll just start looping things. And writing it down kind of, like, helps push, like, a pause almost on that. Because, like, your brain is like, okay, it's kind of out now, almost. And which is another reason why it's so helpful just to, like, talk to someone about it also. But I think journaling is another super helpful thing. And no one has to like see your journal or anything. And if you know people who might go through your journals, maybe just like set some boundaries and let them know, hey, this is my journal and I'm going to be using it just to like get my thoughts out, because people need to do that sometimes, and I don't want you looking in here because it's my personal private journal. If that makes, that's totally fine. People should respect those boundaries. Another thing is definitely praying. If you're like, because like if you're stressed about something, pray about it. If you're feeling lonely or sad, or even if you're feeling like overjoyed, just pray. Like, if you're feeling happy, like thank God. But if you're feeling sad or whatever, or angry or whatever, just pray, because literally I cannot stress that enough. Because like if you're staying up late, like worrying your head off, just like pray. Like Philippians 4:6 says, like pray about everything instead of like worrying, kind of thing. I think it's like instead of worrying, pray. That's like it in the paraphrased, but but so like, cause like if you're staying up thinking all night long, worrying, being angry, stressing over things, pray. Also, like, you need sleep. I'm not joking, you do need sleep. But maybe like start making a habit, like to maybe start praying before bed, or just even praying throughout the day, honestly, because I think that's a good habit to make. So when I was younger, I had serious, what I call it, anger issues. Like, I called them anger issues, but actually it was not really anger issues. But so like I used to get like upset about something, and then I would rage, like really bad, and I would like tell my parents that I'd want to be alone, and I'd lock myself in like the bathroom, and my parents would leave me alone because I said that I wanted to be alone. So they were like respecting that. Oh, they're respecting your boundaries. Great, perfect. But as I said before, you kind of need someone there to help you. So they would leave me alone, which honestly kind of made it worse because I had no one to help me calm down. And in truth, I honestly needed a hug, because physical touch is like calming to your nervous system, which is kind of strange, but it's kind of true. Which like, now, I wasn't always willing for like a hug, but like after a few minutes, it would help me like calm down. But I would rage, and I told myself that like anger is bad because I thought it was anger issues. But in the Voice of the Heart book that I have, and I should show y'all the emotion you're feeling is like in the middle column. This column is like the good side of the emotion, like what comes through it, and this is like when the emotion becomes like a problem. So like, for instance, in the fear chapter, it actually talks about how you would, like, if you're afraid, sometimes you could rage. And so actually, when I was younger, I was so afraid of like failure and like failing to make my parents happy or whatever, that like I would rage. And since rage is caused by like fear, you often like need to feel safe. When I was raging and like I was like afraid and stuff, which I didn't realize it was fear, because like I felt angry and stuff. But the most like helpful thing is like, so first, when it comes to like big emotions like that, first acknowledge like the root of what you are feeling, and then like tell someone and just like be vulnerable. And yes, I literally can't stress that enough, and it is literally so helpful, and it may be scary, and you don't need to like literally just like tell them everything if you don't want to. Like, you don't have to tell them everything. I'm so sorry, I like literally talked at like the fastest speed possible, and I was like stuttering so much. Be honest about your emotions with someone. I would recommend getting a journal. That is literally so helpful. I like to do like little like prayers to God and like my journal kind of things, and I'll just like talk to God. I'll be like, oh my goodness, today was so great, but then I'll be like, oh my goodness, this horrible thing happened. I'll just say everything. But so journaling, being honest about how you feel, especially with other people, is so great. And I would I'd also like, I would acknowledge like what you're feeling is okay, but like don't try to like fix it, but you can still like grow. Like, for instance, if you're mad, don't like just stay angry, but you can be like, Lord, please help calm me down, kind of thing. Please help me get through this. Please help me figure out what to do, kind of thing, if that makes any sense. So yeah, acknowledging how you feel, figuring out like what you're feeling, telling someone. Over the next few weeks, we'll be diving into emotions, and I will be using this book, as a reference. It's this book is not sponsored or anything. I just really would recommend this book. Me and my family actually did like a book study over it, and it was like super helpful. But so yeah, next week I will not be making a podcast due to plans, unfortunately, but the Sunday after that, June 8th, is when I'll be making the first episode diving into an emotion, and that emotion will be hurt. And yeah, I hope this series will be impactful. I'm honestly so excited to dive into this emotion series. I'm excited for it. I'm not like some smart person who knows everything about emotions. I don't really know much. I'm just kind of like speaking from experience. And I also know from experience that if like last year, if I heard this stuff about emotions, it would have been really helpful. So I think it's good to like help other people with that kind of stuff. So yeah, I know this video was kind of not as long. I kind of spoke sort of fast, but I hope y'all will enjoy this series, and I'm really excited. And yeah, so I will not be doing a video next week, and I'm literally so sad. But yeah, prayer requests, y'all know what to do. But yeah, so that's kind of a wrap on this video. I kind of didn't really have a plan, so it was kind of like an intro video to the series. And so it's kind of like what I've learned about emotions. But yeah, I thought I might as well make it anyways. So yeah, I'm really excited, y'all. I hope y'all have a great week, and I'll see y'all later. I guess not next week, but yeah, so bye.